The tension on The View was electric from the moment Blake Shelton took his seat across from the panel, especially with Joy Behar perched at the far end of the table, her expression already locked into a knowing smirk. The country superstar had been invited on to promote his latest tour and new music, but everyone watching could tell this segment wasn't going to stick to the script. From the jump, Joy's questions pushed Blake beyond the standard promo fare. She veered into politics, environmental stances, and then took a sharp left into his personal life with Gwen Stefani. Questioning the authenticity of their relationship under the guise of cultural curiosity, Blake tried to deflect with charm, offering up that trademark Oklahoma grin and a few well-timed jokes. But it quickly became clear that Joy wasn't going to let up. When she brought up comments Blake had made about traditional values and masculinity, in a recent podcast, comparing them unfavorably to today's woke climate, the air turned cold. Joy accused him of promoting outdated ideals, suggesting he was part of the problem rather than the solution. Jeez. Blake's smile dropped. He responded with measured words at first, insisting his statements had been mischaracterized and calling out the show for turning his music promotion into a culture war ambush. But Joy wouldn't back down, in the studio audience. Half applauding her interruptions and half gasping at the friction added fuel to the fire. What started as a tense interview turned into a heated exchange, as Blake, visibly irritated, told Joy she was more interested in gotcha moments than genuine conversation. Asterisk the other host Swoopy Goldberg. Sarah N., Anna Navarro, and Sunny Hostin attempted to mediate the escalating clash. But the back and forth had already spiraled beyond. Recovery. Whoopi tried to steer the discussion back to Blake's music, suggesting they drop the political banter, but Blake was already shaking his head, his arms crossed tightly as he leaned back in his chair. When Joy quipped sarcastically that maybe Blake should just stick to his guitar and leave the thinking to the grown-ups, the mood in the studio dropped like a lead weight. That was it. Blake stood up abruptly, his mic still live as he muttered, "I don't have to sit here and get insulted for trying to be honest." A mix of shocked gasps and muffled applause rolled through the crowd as he turned and walked off set, brushing past a producer who tried to stop him. The remaining panelists sat in stunned silence for several seconds before Whoopi stepped in with a calm but firm remark about the importance of mutual respect. Subtly acknowledging that the exchange had crossed the line, Joy, however, looked unfazed. Sipping her coffee and remarking flatly, "Well, I guess Blake's not as tough as he looks." The incident lit up social media within minutes, with hashtag Blake Shelton trending alongside hashtag The View. Fans and critics alike weighing in with strong opinions. While no formal apology has been issued by either side, sources close to the show say producers are scrambling behind the scenes to do damage control. As for Blake, he has remained relatively quiet, only posting a brief tweet later that evening that simply read, "Sometimes silence is the loudest response." The clash between country cool and political fire had left a crater, and no one watching would soon forget the morning Blake Shelton stormed off The View. Asterisk in the days that followed, the fallout from the on-air meltdown only intensified. Tabloids ran headlines speculating about behind-the-scenes tension between Blake and certain co-hosts, some alleging that Blake had previously expressed reluctance about appearing on The View due to expected hostility. Sources close to Shelton suggested he felt ambushed, claiming he was originally told the interview would focus on his music and upcoming tour, not his political views or personal beliefs. Meanwhile, Joy Behar doubled down during the next day's broadcast, saying she wouldn't apologize for challenging a public figure's opinions when they enter a space like ours. She added sharply, "If you can't handle being asked real questions, maybe daytime TV isn't for you." That remark sparked a fresh wave of backlash, with even some of The View's regular viewers calling for a more respectful tone, especially when guests are invited to discuss their careers. Amid the media frenzy, Blake's wife Gwen Stefani subtly showed support for him, posting a black and white photo of them together on Instagram with the caption, "Stand strong, always." Though no formal reconciliation between Shelton and The View has occurred, rumors have swirled that network executives are privately urging both sides to soften their stance to avoid further damage. For now, Blake has returned to his music, performing. 2 sold-out crowds with no mention of the daytime disaster. Yet, the clip of his storm-off continues to circulate online, serving as a potent reminder of how quickly a conversation can ignite, and how even the most composed stars can reach a breaking point when the cameras are rolling. Asterisk, behind the scenes. Tensions at The View reportedly reached a boiling point following the incident, with producers scrambling to manage both public backlash and internal discord. According to anonymous insiders, some staffers felt the segment should have been better managed, citing a lack of coordination and preparation that allowed the conversation to spiral so quickly. Joy Behar, while known for her bluntness, was said to have received a quiet warning from ABC executives to avoid escalating guest interactions unnecessarily, especially with high-profile personalities like Shelton. Meanwhile, Blake's representatives declined further comment, but his sudden cancellation of several upcoming media appearances suggested the impact had lingered. Fans flooded social media with divided reactions, some applauding Shelton for standing his ground while others criticized him for walking off instead of defending his views calmly. The segment sparked broader cultural conversations about the expectations of celebrity guests, the role of political discourse in entertainment, and the fine line between candid debate and combative confrontation. Even former The View co-hosts weighed in, with Meghan McCain tweeting that Blake was set up and handled it the only way he could by leaving. Despite the fallout, ratings for The View soared in the aftermath, proving once again that controversy sells, but it also leaves scars. Whether Blake Shelton will ever return to the show remains uncertain. But one thing is clear, that morning clash became one of the most talked about moments in recent television history. A defining moment for both Shelton and The View alike. Asterisk in the days following the explosive encounter, ripples from the confrontation continued to spread across the entertainment world, as talk shows, podcasts, and morning programs all dissected every second of the segment. Some commentators pointed out that Blake Shelton, who typically avoids public political discussions, had been unusually candid, while others suggested that Joy Behar had deliberately pressed him into a corner for the sake of ratings. Reports also surfaced alleging that producers had intentionally seated the two at opposite ends of the panel to create dramatic tension, a strategy often used in television to provoke spontaneous reactions. Meanwhile, Blake was spotted back in Nashville, attending a benefit concert where he made a brief reference to the incident, saying sometimes you just gotta walk away to keep your peace. His fans erupted in applause, treating the line like a badge of honor. Joy Behar, never one to shy away from controversy, addressed the walk-off on the next episode of The View, joking that Blake couldn't handle a real conversation, prompting audible discomfort from some of her co-hosts. The unresolved tension raised questions about whether daytime television had crossed a line from discussion to provocation, and whether it could sustain civil discourse in a polarized climate. Ultimately, the Blake-Joy showdown may have only lasted minutes on air, but its impact lasted far longer, shaping perceptions, renewing old media rivalries, and reminding audiences that beneath every smile on live TV, friction may be waiting to ignite. Asterisk, behind the scenes, producers of The View scrambled to control the damage, reportedly holding emergency meetings with network executives and legal advisors. According to anonymous insiders, ABC received numerous complaints from viewers, some outraged by Joy Behar's perceived antagonism, others by Blake Shelton's abrupt exit and his veiled criticisms afterward. Blake's publicist released a carefully worded statement saying, "Mr. Shelton values meaningful dialogue, but not at the expense of dignity and mutual respect." That comment only fueled speculation that he had no plans to return to The View under its current format. Meanwhile, Joy was seen arriving at the studio the next morning unfazed, waving to cameras and laughing with producers, an image that quickly went viral and was interpreted by some as smug defiance. With the controversy gaining more steam, media outlets debated whether the show had become more about sensationalism than substance. Several of Blake's peers in the country music industry, including Luke Bryan and Miranda Lambert, posted cryptic messages of support, hinting that many in the entertainment world were growing weary of politicized ambushes on supposedly friendly platforms. As ratings for The View soared that week, it became evident that the line between journalism and theater had blurred further. Though Blake had walked off, the echo of his exit steps continued to resonate, challenging how much authenticity still existed in daytime television and what the real cost was for speaking your truth in a room that only pretends to want it. Asterisk.